Hello everyone, welcome back to 10-minute recaps. Today we'll be watching episode 5 of Business Proposal. At the end of the last episode, Hari left her wallet in Tae-mu's car and inadvertently let Tae-mu find out the truth, breaking his heart. A dumbfounded Tae-mu leaves Hari's wallet without saying anything and drives home to do some stalking of Shin Hari's personnel file. He realizes that Hari has known who he was since the very beginning, and his love was based on a lie. His grief turns into burning anger, and he decides that he's going to get revenge. The next day, Tae-mu arranges an urgent lunch with Shin Ge-mi at a restaurant miles away from the office. After wasting all of her lunch hour with small talk, he sets up a meeting that Hari needs to attend at the last minute, making Hari panic and speed back to the office. Unsurprisingly, Hari gets back to the office late and even has to meet Tae-mu face to face. The cunning Tae-mu pretends that he's oblivious to Hari's identity, but tears into her for her tardiness and sets a huge workload for her to complete. After the meeting, Sung-hoon questions Tae-mu on why he's bullying a random employee. When he gets told the truth, his mind is absolutely blown. Honestly, both the male leads in this show really need to get their eyes checked out. Anyway, over the ensuing weeks, Tae-mu continues to bully Hari, rejecting every single dish that she makes. Eventually, Hari snaps and argues back, managing to turn the tables on a flustered Tae-mu. That day, Min-woo comes to the office to work with Hari. When they get to the cafeteria, she sees Tae-mu staring daggers into her back. Hari has PTSD from Tae-mu's work demands at this point and hastily pushes Min-woo to leave. In reality, Tae-mu is jealous of Hari spending time alone with Min-woo, who he now knows is the guy that Hari's had a crush on for a decade. At lunch, Grandad demands to see Ge-mi again, which gives Tae-mu an idea. He tells Ge-mi that Grandad wants to meet her at the annual company meeting that Hari also needs to go to as an employee, and blackmails her for millions in a contract termination fee when she tries to find excuses to not go. Hari tries to borrow some money from Yong-seo to pay for the contract termination, but since leaving home she's just as broke as Hari. At the same time, Tae-mu's visiting Sung-hoon and finds out that Yong-seo lives next door through a misdelivered package. The two girls get home just as Sung-hoon's returning Yong-seo's package, and the panicking Hari hastily disguises her face while Yong-seo goes to distract Sung-hoon. In response, Sung-hoon draws a line in the figurative sand and tells her not to cross it, because he's worried that she'll blow up again if she hears Tae-mu in his flat. Yong-seo moans about the gap between the Sung-hoon of her imagination and reality, while next door, Sung-hoon quizzes Tae-mu on how he seems to act so irrationally whenever Hari is involved in a situation. Next day at work, Hari finds out that she's going to win the Employee of the Year award at a company meeting, a huge honour. She's even going to be the youngest employee ever to win this award. But at the end of the day, it seems impossible for Shin Hari and Shin Ge-mi to both be in the same place at the same time, and after some research online, she starts laying the groundwork for calling off sick from work on the day. But of course, this is all part of Tae-mu's master plan for revenge, and to make sure that Hari has to turn up in both identities and get exposed, he sends Hari's family an invitation to the event as well. At this point, Hari has no choice but to go in both identities. She can already imagine how the event will go. She'll be disguised as Ge-mi when her mum recognises her and exposes her lie. Both her career and family life will be ruined. Tae-mu is honestly a boss from hell. That night, Yong-seo and Sung-hoon bump into each other at a restaurant. Yong-seo is still angry from how childishly Sung-hoon acted and sarcastically apologises for how the steam from her food drifts across the line leaving Sung-hoon speechless. Meanwhile, Hari's team is treating her to barbecue to celebrate her winning the award. Hari drinks way too much and breaks down, crying about how her life is crumbling down all around her. After dinner, we get to see a classic example of how actions speak louder than words. Hari calls Tae-mu while completely drunk, sobbing the whole time. When Tae-mu hears her yelling at a bunch of kids before the line goes dead, he gets super worried and drives everywhere looking for her. Tae-mu is clearly in love with this woman but just won't admit it. Luckily, he eventually finds Hari asleep in a park. The sleepy Hari assumes Tae-mu is in her dream because Tae-mu in real life would never be so nice to her. She even admits her dual identity to this dream Tae-mu. After making sure that she gets home safe, Tae-mu can't sleep the whole night, completely torn about his feelings for Hari. Next morning, Hari wakes up with no memory of the night and sees a message from Tae-mu, telling her that he's breaking the contract relationship and that she doesn't need to pay him anything. Hari has no idea why Tae-mu suddenly let go of her, but, well, she doesn't care. At the same time, Tae-mu flies to the US on a business trip, wanting to prove to himself that he doesn't care about Hari at all. While business goes well and he makes lots of money for the company, Tae-mu's not left in a good mood. Reality doesn't follow his desires, and he starts imagining Hari everywhere, driving him absolutely mad. Clearly, as well as checking out his eyes, Tae-mu also needs to check out his brain for all of these hallucinations. Back in Korea, Granddad calls Hari, asking her to meet for lunch. Hari doesn't know how to reject him and eventually agrees to the meal. Yong-seol accidentally knocks over the lamp her gym buddy gave her, breaking it and exposing a hidden camera. She realises that the guy is a pervert and goes to report him to the police. Unluckily, the pervert is watching the camera live and tries to steal the evidence from Yong-seol. Sung-hoon turns up just in time and manages to catch him. Meanwhile, Tae-mu is going to dinner with Granddad and Hari when he gets a call from Sung-hoon telling him about the situation. Tae-mu immediately tells Hari what happened to her friend and takes her to the police station. But in his haste, he accidentally calls Hari by her real name rather than Gurmi. If you want to find out what happens next, be sure to like and subscribe.